Hello there, welcome back to another review. So it's hard to believe that this game came out all the way back in 2012 and we're going to be talking about Gearbox Software's Borderlands 2. Now I played this loads back in the day on the PS3 and I went through it again recently just for nostalgic reasons and for the purpose of this review, and it still holds up. It's still as fun as ever and there's still a whole heap of good times to be had with Borderlands 2. The first Borderlands, I think by all accounts, was actually a bit of an unexpected success, so naturally a sequel followed set on Pandora. You know the drill, you shoot, you loot, you blow stuff up and have a damn good time. One thing that I always loved about the game was the script. Like, this is a razor sharp script. It's super funny, it never takes itself too seriously, some of the dialogue is extremely sarcastic, but even if you're not belly laughing through the game, you will always have a smile on your face. Regardless of the gameplay itself and what that involves, you will be smiling the whole way through Borderlands 2. We have a villain who you never actually see much of until later in the game, that of Handsome Jack, but goddamn what a villain. It's almost a shame to kill him because all the way through is such a complete arse. You can't wait to face him. Checking Wikipedia just quickly while I was looking up this game, turns out this is meant to be also one of the greatest video games ever made, so that's not too shabby from Gearbox Software. That's not a bad day at the office for them, Borderlands 2. And I didn't actually know until I researched that how much of a reputation. I mean, I knew it was beloved Borderlands 2, I knew there was big fans of Borderlands 2, and of course the Borderlands franchise in general, but especially Borderlands 2, because I think Borderlands, the original, just come out of nowhere and people were like, oh, this game's different, this is, you know, I can get on board with this, a looter shooter kind of thing, and especially with the cell shaded kind of art style. And by the time Borderlands 2 had come along, like the freight train was very much in motion. But having doing some research, I had no idea it was even lauded as one of the still regarded one of the best video games of all time, so that's no small feat. But yeah, you know the drill, you level up by shooting and looting, throw in some driving, some larger than life characters like Brick, Mordecai, Ellie and Scooter, a unique art style, a tongue-in-cheek script, and Borderlands 2 is one hell of a blast. Just as a record, Brick is my favourite character in the game. Now you get classes to pick from, of course, though to be honest isn't really all that much that sets them apart. There are classes there, but there's not a huge difference that's going to make you think, oh, this class is better than the other. Yes, there might be the odd bit of more fun to be had with certain classes, but by and large, having played through the game numerous times, it doesn't really overly make a huge amount of difference. Like, one can dual wield, one summons a turret, one becomes invincible, like invisible kind of thing. I usually play as the Siren, but I've experimented with other classes, and believe me, these abilities are super secondary to the gameplay, which is as tight as it comes. The shooting mechanics, everything is really super tight. It pops, and it really, as I say, if the gameplay is strong, it flows, it's fluid, and when you're having a great time with Borderlands and when it's working extremely well, it really is sort of unparalleled, because it really does have a good thing going on there. Like, you play this for the first time and you think, okay, yeah, it's cool, but when you find that gun that suits you, that gun that you think, okay, I can get on board with this, because you're always looking for new upgrades, new weapons, like what's going to be my next gun, because you're always checking for loot. But when you get that gun, when you find that gun for the first time that is your gun, like, it suddenly transforms the gameplay. All of a sudden the Borderlands, it takes on a whole new level, because you've found your gun, you found that gun that you want, and that's exactly what happens here, because when you find that gun, it suits your playstyle and it's so badass. It opens up the game in so many ways. And that's the great thing about it. You loot and you're always comparing weapons. I try to always keep things simple by just having like an assault rifle, a shotgun, a handgun and a sniper rifle. I very rarely use like the submachine guns. I mainly just stuck to them 4 weapons I just mentioned. The submachine guns, to me, though strong, I never really overly wielded that much, or rocket launchers even for that matter. So many things to consider too, like how does the gun look, how does it handle, what is the manufacturer, does it cause explosive damage, shield damage, slag damage, etc. And I spent sometimes minutes on end of weighing up my guns and what is the best one to use. What makes the game stand out so much from Borderlands 1 is that it's everything a sequel should be. It's everything. When you speak of like sequels, whether it's a movie or a video game, this game here is everything a sequel should be and then some. It looks better, it plays better, the locations are more varied. If Borderlands 1 was Gearbox sort of testing the waters, then Borderlands 2 is them jumping right in. If the first game's story was forgettable, then the sequel is anything but. Yeah, it's the idea of you're a vault hunter that teams up with this group of resistance fighters to take down a bad guy, but the characters are there, the one-liners ideas are there, and above all, the heart is there too. And that's like the game does go serious in places, but not in like a patronizing way. It doesn't become sort of overly like over the top, like melodramatic. It does have serious moments, but by and large that's played really well, as I say. But when the serious moments do happen, and the game has been sort of tongue-in-cheek for the most part, when the serious like points do happen, you're on board with them because you've been invested with the game, you've been invested with these characters. And it's the same with the jokes, like they aren't done with anything, like there's no agenda there or any meaning. It's like, let's just be silly, let's have fun and enjoy a first person looter shooter. Gone is sort of the standalone desert setting of the first game. If you remember, if you cast your mind back to the first Borderlands, quite empty, quite sparse, there wasn't much variety in the locations, it was mainly just sort of desert based. But here, that's why it's such a smart move by Gearbox to start the game in a cold-like environment, showing this isn't just going to be more of the same. There are hardly any cutscenes too, like the game never slows down, either getting audio logs or messages from Handsome Jack, or accepting missions which are all like split up between trivial, normal and story for the most part. But I think the lack of cutscenes really works. It's a favour as the world, you know, the world you're in always seems alive, like it's constantly moving, there's always something happening, you're always getting like a message from Jack, or there's always a side mission to accomplish, or there's always a character you're bumping into, or a new gun you found. The game seems to be constantly moving all the time, and it has a wonderful sense of momentum. Like, the goal in itself is really simple. You're on your way to kill Handsome Jack. It's a really simple premise, but there's so much more to it than that. I mean, Handsome Jack, in terms of classic game villains of like sort of, when you speak especially of recent times, like in the last 15-20 years or so, I think he's up there. I think Handsome Jack is definitely up there of sort of one of the most more memorable, more classic villains in video game history. Not necessarily the greatest villain, maybe even not top 50, but he's still, I think, up there in terms of what makes a great video game villain. Like massive, like there's a huge part in the game, a bit of a spoiler here, it's not much of a spoiler if you played the game, I mean the game's really old now, but there's a wonderful scene like when you go to save Mordecai's bird, Bloodwing, and you have this like sort of epic battle, especially for your level at the time. It can be quite a tough battle unless you've sort of leveled up quite high, but for your level, when you go to save Bloodwing and help Mordecai, there's quite an intense boss battle, and you go through this whole thing only for sort of Jack to blow the bird's head off anyway, right? So it makes you hate this dude so much, like you want to kick his ass, right? But there's something about Jack, because of who he is and because he is such an arse, that you just can't help but like the guy. You know, you can't help but like the guy because he is so over the top bad. Like, he is just such an arse to you. You don't really want to kill him because you want it. That is what keeps you spurred on the whole way through the game. Like, you just want to take him out. Now, of course, this is meant to be played with friends, online and multiplayer. The bonus being you can item trade and have better loot, which was such a blast back in the day. But I've gone through the game solo a few times and I still have fun. I still have fun playing it solo. I mean, you'll probably have to play it solo now. I don't know if anybody out there is still playing Borderlands 2. But there's still fun to be had if you are just going through this on your own. Now, of course, with any game, there are some negatives here. There are some negatives, like when you are trying to like hear like an audio message, and there's the vital part of the story, only to have like loads of enemies you're shooting at, shouting all over the top of it. You know, there's little things like that that can be a bit annoying. But make no mistake, this is a loud game. This is a loud game. Like, there is noise all the time. Whether it's gunfire, somebody talking, enemies screeching and growling at you, shouting at you, anything, there is just noise all the time. And usually for the most part it will be, you know, side quests and missions will be sort of accept, go here, shoot stuff, back to Sanctuary and accept rewards. Sanctuary being like the hub, and you will go there a lot. At the end of the day, Borderlands 2 was just bold, it was bigger, and you know, by and large, it was just better. It was better than Borderlands 1. And I think it, like I say, it's like I mentioned, it's everything that a sequel should be. And I think what as well with, when you look at it, like I say, I've been played it again recently, it's a really focused game. I know it's like a juvenile, the jokes and everything like that, but it is really focused in what it's trying to be and what it sets out to be. And that is why it should be applauded for its efforts, because it never claims to be anything else other than what it is. But when it is all these things, when it does tick off all these boxes that a sequel should be, whether you're a fan of the original or not, I don't think you can argue with that. Like, when a sequel really doesn't trip up and it does everything right in terms of what a sequel should be, like I mentioned, whether it's a movie or, you know, whatever, but especially in video games, Borderlands 2 gets so much right that you can't really argue with it. If you have never played it, it's still worth your time even after all these years. Trust me, you will have a blast with this. So if you need your RPG, first person shooter, like sort of looter fix, this is a prime example of that genre done well. It's really highly regarded, and it's a game that I still think, even after all this time, 13-14 years, it's still really worth playing. So thank you very much indeed for watching. Hope you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you again soon.
Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory.